she's masculine. Or because a woman speaks up for herself, she's masculine. Y'all have reduced feminine energy to role play. So when someone likes me that comes and we start talking about being authentic, and we start talking about the true nature of feminine energy, you don't want to hear it. Women don't, well, some women do. I'm not going to say you don't want to hear it, because I know that community, the Pedestal wives, the inner circle members, you want to hear it because you understand that I'm giving you the truth of feminine energy versus the costume of it. Too many women are talking about the costume of it. This is the reason why y'all are getting to the level of Stepford wives. Y'all are giving Stepford wives. That's what it is. It's giving Stepford wives. It's giving costumes. It's giving cosplay. And when you get that, this is what's making feminine energy a joke. This is what's making feminine energy a joke, because it is cosplay, it is costumes. Everything that you can't, there's so many you can't do as feminine energy. Y'all don't understand. There's another energy that no one talks about. I'm going to talk about it in this life. I've been wanting to talk about it forever, but this is the opening. This is the opening that my heart has been wanting, that God's put on my heart. Do y'all know that y'all can neutralize yourself? Sis, you can neutralize yourself. People talk about feminine and masculine energy, but there's a way to neutralize yourself where you numb yourself out, where you can literally put yourself on this planet where you aren't seen, you aren't heard, you aren't felt. This is the reason why a lot of women are saying, oh my gosh, when I am with people, I'm not with people. When I'm around people, I feel nothing. I am numb. Because you can neutralize both of those energies where you're just a person on this earth walking alone, being alone, and being. And you can be at peace in that. Some women don't mind being that, but you can neutralize yourself. That's the other energy that no one talks about. Being neutral, being numb. And this is where you can put it to the point where you are not even seen. When you're in a crowd of people, you're not seen, you're not heard, you're not known. You can neutralize yourself to that degree, especially and usually this comes with when you're just disgusted that you pull away from society. That you pull away. Depression. That's a good way to describe it. Depression, where you just so overwhelmed, so disgusted with society, so feeling like you're just out of place, that you can neutralize yourself. You can numb yourself where you're not even seen. You don't even leave a footprint on this earth. And that's the other side of the coin. This is the reason why you get women who say, well, when I go somewhere, it's like I'm not there. It's like no one knows me. No one sees me. No one's asking or talking to me. Because you're numb, you're neutral. You can reject both energies and just be neutral. And when you're neutral, it's just like you're wandering. You're wandering around, and some people are at peace with it. Some people want to be that because they're so disgusted with society and the way that things are going in their lives that they just pull away and they just choose to be alone. And that's neutral. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're happy in it. If you're not happy in it, then yes, then you want to get out of that place where you're neutral and numb, and you want to choose the dynamic that works for you. And 9 out of 10, it's going to be feminine energy. Majority of the time, it's going to be feminine energy. I would say, if I was to calculate the billions of people on this earth, I would say there's like 10% of masculine energy in women. Like 10% of women are masculine energy. There's not this big, there's not this overwhelming masculine energy thing that you see in women like y'all are talking about. It's not there. That's wounded feminine energy that you're seeing. And the only reason it's being classified because you're looking at it based off of the things that she does. You're not looking, or you're not able to feel her energy to get a real good read of where she's coming from. A lot of this conversation is being had without really a true knowing. I've seen women being labeled as being masculine, and they're not being masculine. They're just wounded feminine beings. And wounded feminine beings, they're gonna they're gonna bite back because they don't have access to the healthy version of feminine energy. So they're gonna bite back. They're gonna be petty. They're not gonna know how to communicate well. Y'all have literally put it to the point where communication, the way that a woman communicates, is feminine. And sometimes the way a woman communicates can be just basic lack of etiquette. That's what it could be. But since Americans definitely have taken a lot of this content from feminine and masculine from other cultures and don't have a true understanding of how to actualize it or activate it. And so when someone like me come along and said, hey, that's not feminine energy. What you're talking about is literally basic etiquette. What you're talking about is just literally a role. You're not really getting into the nitty gritty of what feminine energy truly is. So feminine energy is not a role play. It's not cosplay. It's not a costume. When you truly come around truly healthy feminine energy women, you can feel it. It is not only a feeling it, it is a knowing. This person is comfortable in her skin, her soul, her mind, her body. And it is truly a state that majority of women desire to be, because majority of women are feminine energy. It is rare to come across a truly masculine woman. And I think some of you all don't know the difference. You're equating masculine women with just because she's able to stand up for herself. Do y'all realize that feminine energy can be chaotic? Feminine energy can be calm. Feminine energy can be soothing. Feminine energy can be assertive. Feminine energy has duality to it. It has flexibility to it. It has adaptability to it. So when you sit here and you label certain things as feminine or masculine, you don't have a true understanding of what it is. This is why we have a lot of costume play. And I'm very disappointed when I see women who are teaching feminine energy, and when they teach it, they're teaching from the perspective of you must do this in order to be. Like, you will never get that from a feminine energy person. You won't. You won't get that you must do something to be. What you're going to get is you're going to get along the lines of trying to help you figure out how to be. How to be. How do you become that person that's more comfortable in their skin, their mind, their body, their soul, their spirit? How do you become that person that understands their intuition, their discernment, their knowing, their themselves? That is what you're going to get from feminine energy beings, because we understand that in order to be in that feminine energy being, you have to have a sense of knowing of self. That is how you get to state of being. And that is true feminine energy. It is not based on if you love to cook. It is not based on if you love to clean. It's not even based on if you work. So you all are actually saying that working is feminine or masculine. Working is not feminine or masculine. It is all about the intention. If you get in and you hate working, and the only reason you're currently working is for the love of family, for the love of the progression of family, to make sure your family is taken care of, this is a feminine energy thing. It is not masculine. Only way it would be a masculine thing is that you love what you love working, and you love trying to get in there and lead and compete and beat others out. You love getting to the top of that thing. You absolutely have fallen in love with that. That's the only way working becomes masculine. But because it's based off the intention behind the energy. It's based off the intention behind the thing. Not because you're working. Not because you're cooking. Not because you're cleaning. Y'all, feminine energy is not cosplay. It isn't. It is not a costume. It is not something that you can put on or take off. And that's the reason why a majority of women are literally just wounded. They're wounded feminine energy beings trying to figure out how to go about connecting with self. The disconnecting from self is what's really causing them to be in that wounded space, because they truly don't know who they are. They are not comfortable in their mind, body, and skin, and soul, and spirit. And this is what leads to state of being. When you want to get to a state of being, you're not trying to do things to get there. You're trying to figure out how to be better. How do I become comfortable in that thing? Feminine energy is not cosplay. It is not a costume. The things that we're talking about have no relevance to if you are masculine or feminine. And when we get stuck here, we never ever get to get to the space of healthy, true feminine energy. And as you can see, I'm tired. That's the reason why I said I never wanted to go in this space, because I knew that it was going to be so much misinformation and so much arguing about what it is and what it isn't. And honestly, you're showing yourself. When I see this happen, I really see and realize that these people have never experienced feminine energy. They've never experienced masculine energy. So they don't know how to recognize either or. Only thing, and that's why it's so easy to qualify it or put it into doing, because you're trying to make it easy for you to recognize, not realizing in order to recognize these things, you have to start getting into self. So you can develop that discernment, that intuition. So you can develop your senses so you can feel it. When you're in the presence of a true masculine energy, there is a feeling that you feel. And it's almost like a knowing. And it's not just what he does. Yes, we can sit here and vet. I'm not saying don't vet. Y'all know I'm the queen of vetting. So I'm not saying don't vet him, because you have to vet him to make sure that he has similar values, and that y'all's thought process and thinking and lifestyle are going to align. But when you get around true masculine energy, it's like you just fold in. You just fold in because you know that this is safe. You can feel the safety. He brings that with him. You don't have to bring safeness to him because he brings it with him. And you can feel it off him. It's coming off him in droves. And then not just you are feeling like a safeness around him. You will see that people that he engaged with, they feel it also. So they put him in lead. So masculine energy is something that it's a safety that comes with the man. And you can feel that you can safe, so that not only can you just fold and lean into him, it's easy to do so. So all the other things that we're hearing when it comes to masculine energy, feminine energy, what they've done, and I understand why it's been done. I just don't like it. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I understand why it's being done. I just don't like it. They're trying to make it easier for the masses to be able to identify feminine and masculine energy. But when you go about it in a way where people are looking for big things or doing or actions, then it becomes a costume. And you can be lied to based off the costume on the person. And I think that's the biggest mistake we make. So I have nothing against the characteristics, but we need to make sure that people understand the energetics behind it. We have to make sure people understand the energetics behind masculine and feminine energy, so that you're not just reliant on what you see. Because what you see can be the costume. It can be the representative. And when you get lied to based off the representative, and this is the reason why you see a lot of people are being lied to in this manner. They thought he was masculine because he showed up in a way where he's working. He had a mission. He had a plan. He had a vision. But they don't understand that when they're with them, there's no safeness. There's no protection. When they're with him, they can't fold into him. They can't lean into him. They can't let him lead because there's something off. And this is the reason why I tell women, listen to the intuition inside you. Your intuition will never lead you wrong. If when you get around him, he has all the things, he's checking off all the boxes of masculine energy. But then when you you can't lean into him. Like, let me tell you this. It could literally be chaos around us. And I know I can literally just sit down and let my husband handle it. I know I can lean into him. I know that I can literally be in my own world and distracted, because that's what we do as feminine energy beings. We get caught up in self, and I can be distracted and I can just lean into him. And I know he's going to take my hand and he's going to guide me to safety. I don't have to worry when I'm with him, because there's a safety that comes with him. There's a protection that comes with him. And so this is the reason why that women can be lied to based off the costume. Y'all are here checking boxes when you need to also be paying attention to your being, your intuition, your discernment that lets you know if this person that you can lean into. But when you make feminine energy and masculine energy as though you're checking off boxes, you're going to miss the person, that you're going to get caught up with the person who's wearing the costume. And this is also why you all tend to get lied to when it comes to social media and content creators, because y'all are missing the energy that they're giving off. Y'all are missing the intuition that's telling you, or discernment that's telling you that something is off. Never ignore that. That is you protecting you. Why don't you save your lives? I do sometimes. I don't all the time. A lot of times I save my lives for my inner circle members so that they can have access to them. And since my page is not set up like a normal page, that's the reason why I don't save my lives. I usually promote other content creators. So true. Makes so much sense. I was speaking to a lady about this, and she said, how do you actually feel when you're around him? Wow. Even though he ticked all the boxes, I did not feel safe in his presence. And I'm telling you, that's going to save your life. And I've told this story over and over and over. I had a guy, when I was out here dating before my husband, he checked off all the boxes for masculine energy. He definitely looks good on paper, but my spirit, my soul could not sit right with him. I kept feeling like I need to be aware, like I couldn't lean into him. And I kept like, and they basically going back and forth. I was like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And when I listened to myself and I just cut it off, I stopped seeing him because of that very thing. Y'all, he was in the newspaper a week later for raping a woman, because my spirit knew before I knew that something was off about him, and I need to be aware. And so I could never lean into him. With my husband, I can go to sleep. I can sit down in the middle of chaos, and I know he got me. I know he's going to get me to safety. I know that he's going to protect me. There was a certain level of safety and protection that came with him. And he checked off all the boxes. Okay? But when something is off, your energy, your spirit, your soul will know before you do. Listen to it. And this is what it means to truly be in that connection with feminine energy, is when you listen to that thing. The more that you listen, the more that you trust your intuition and not your thinking. Because some of y'all get caught up with your thinking. It's not a thought. It's your gut feeling that lets you know that, hey, this is where I need to be. This is who I need to interact with. I don't interact with people unless that part of me approves. And this is how I'm able to live a life where I am resting and relaxing in my feminine energy. Because I allow that part of me to guide me so that I can live a life that is going to be beneficial overall to me. But feminine energy isn't a role. It isn't costume play. It's not just putting it on, taking it on, putting it on and off. So when y'all get caught up in these conversations, and I've had this over and over and over, when it comes about working, baby, it's the intention behind the energy. It's how you feel about that work. Are you only working because you have to, because you love your kids, because you love your family, because you want them to thrive? That does not make you masculine because you're working. Working does not determine femininity. It doesn't. It never has. It never will. So y'all have all this long list of what determines femininity, but you're missing state of being. That's the reason why I talk so much about state of being. I talk so much about how to connect with that side of yourself so you can get your blueprint, so you can unlock the secrets to your soul, so that you can actually be. You cannot be unless you're comfortable in that side of yourself, unless you're comfortable within your skin, your mind, your body, your heart, your soul, your energy. When you do that, when you have that sense of alignment, then everything will be known to you. Yes, I was in my head so much and trying to make sense of it through logic, but my intuition kept screaming it's unsafe. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. We would be hanging out, and some part of me kept saying, be awake. Don't drink anything when you're with him. So I wouldn't even drink a cup of water. I wouldn't even accept anything from him. I had to go make it myself. And I was like, what is this? Why do I not feel safe around this person? And it's because my energy, my soul, my spirit knew before I knew that he was a predator. And that if I released my guard around him, that he could have probably harmed me. And guess what? It was not a one-time thing for him. He had been doing this to women consistently. So when they got him for a multitude of rape charges. Because I can't say it on social media, because who knows if I'm gonna repost or not. So they got him caught up in that, and I think he didn't serve long, because they don't make them serve long for those things, y'all. He didn't serve long. I think he served 5 years for doing it for a multitude of women. But feminine energy is not a costume. It is not role play. It's not cosplay. When we reduce it to that, we're missing the part of feminine energy that's going to help us to cultivate our intuition, our discernment. Thank God you were protected from that man. So scary. Yes. And from that point on, I never dismissed my intuition. And I never dismiss what God has put in my spirit, because I truly do believe that God gave that to women. That's the gift that keeps on giving. That is God's spiritual gift to us, to make sure that we have some semblance of protection as women. So when we ignore our intuition and ignore what's going on in our spirit and our energy, it can be disastrous for us overall. But it is so easy to get caught up in the logic of things. I've always said I'm a logical being. And I own that. I claim that. I am illogical because I am going to listen to my spirit. I'm going to listen to my discernment. I'm going to listen to my intuition before I listen to what's on paper or logic. Because I've learned that every single time when I pay attention to my intuition, I've never been wrong. I've always been guided in the right direction. And yes, it is hard to get there because the world runs off logic. Y'all have to realize the reason why the world runs off logic is because this is a man's world. Everything has been created to their dynamics. Even time has been created by their dynamic. Work has been created by their dynamics. So since it's been created by their dynamics, and women don't have an input in how everything was created, this is the reason why we have to be illogical. We have to learn to be illogical. When you're being illogical, it is feminine energy. Because feminine energy is going to be illogical and it's going to pay attention to their intuition. It's going to pay attention to their emotions. They're going to pay attention to their feelings. And I'm not saying just use that also. Remember that we have duality. We have feminine and masculine energy. And the reason we have that duality is because we have to use masculine energy when it is needed. But majority of the time, we're going to be operating our feminine energy because that feels more authentic to us. When we have to do our masculine energy, this kind of like, and we do it too long, it burns us out. This is the reason why you're starting to see an uprising of autoimmune and certain type of diseases come about where women are dying earlier because we are meant to outlive our men. We've always been meant to outlive men because we are the ones that bring life. So in order to bring life, we have to outlive men. But feminine energy isn't a costume. It isn't role play. It isn't based off if you cook, if you clean. It isn't based off if you curse or you don't. It isn't based off if you work or you don't. It is based off your state of being. It is based off of you being comfortable in the skin that you are in, your soul, your spirit, your energy. Only thing that can give you access into the other is through intention. Through intention, it's the intention of the energy that determines if you masculine or feminine. If I was to sit here, and I do cook for my family, I love cooking for my family. I just don't do it a lot. The reason because I would prefer to do it when I am at the highest state of being, where I am doing something that I love or enjoy about. Because I know that way my food will energize my family and not take away from them. When I do something and it's on my checklist and I have to do it, but I hate to do it, I'm in my masculine and the food isn't fire. It isn't great then. It's not going to nourish them in another way when you are doing it because you love it versus you hate it. Y'all have to realize we are still human beings having a spiritual existence, a spiritual experience. So when we have that going on, we have that duality going on, you have to pay attention to, are you doing something because it's on your checklist? Or are you doing something because it puts you in joy? When it puts you in joy, you're in your highest state of feminine energy. When you're doing something based off a checklist, doing something because and you hate it, that is when you're in your masculine energy. And it's very rare for women to be there consistently. So all of this, all of nothing conversation that we're having is not even needed. Because there is going to come a time, even the most truest feminine woman is going to have to dip into her masculine energy. It's going to have to be where she has to get it done, where it's on the list. And it's something that she don't want to do, but she got to do. And she has to be in her masculine energy in order to achieve it in that moment. But when we reduce it to feminine energy to a role play, we don't get the full gist of how feminine energy can be effective and how it can be enlightening and how it can help us live. We don't get all of that because we're too focused on how do we do to be. That doesn't even sound right when it comes out my mouth because it is inconsistent. It's just the energetics behind it is just all wrong. You shouldn't be trying to do to be. But that's where we're going. We're going down this path where we're trying to do to be. And now we have women against each other, trying to be more feminine and talk about how they're doing things to be. And that's never what feminine energy is even about. And I think when it comes to feminine energy, if I think men should stay out the conversation. I've said it before, and I know people don't like me saying that because they're like, well, how are you going to know? Well, I think feminine energy is something that a woman is she's being in that feminine energy, in her authentic self. I think that men know nothing about womanhood. And since they know nothing about womanhood, they should stay out of the conversation. That's just my personal opinion. Some of you I know don't mind talking to a man about feminine energy, but y'all have to realize you have to be very careful with that, because sometimes the only reason women want to have that conversation with men is because we, as women, we like men, and we like to hear their opinions, and we like to be around their energy. And so we have to be very careful about what we take from a man, especially if a man has never even encountered a feminine energy being. They don't know what they're talking about, and especially if they don't know anything about womanhood. Unless they, was a woman and became a man or something to that level, because we have all of that going on. I'm not even going to touch on that in this live stream, maybe another live stream, because I've seen something else that kind of burnt my grits when it comes to that stuff. But let's stick to the topic at hand. Feminine energy isn't constant. Stop trying to do the be. The more you try to do the be, the more you're getting further and further away from your authentic feminine energy. The more that you're getting further and further away from being comfortable in your skin, in your energy, in your soul, in your spirit. The more disconnection that you have, the more resistance that you have, the more that you're getting further away from being who you were always meant to be. And when you cannot be who you were meant to be, this causes women to be or feel like they just don't fit. They don't fit. And a lot of us, the information I'm giving you is not new. It's not new. It's not new. I'm not the first person you probably encountered who talked about feminine energy in this manner, but you can become resistant when you've only heard it one way. When you've heard all over social media and you learn about feminine energy from social media, and this person had a lot of misinformation when it comes to feminine energy, then you can become resistant to what true feminine energy is. Y'all have to realize I didn't learn feminine energy from social media. I learned feminine energy from the elders of my family, which means I learned feminine energy from my grandmother, from my aunties, from my cousins. I learned feminine energy from the women in my family, and they taught me this way of feminine energy. And if you were to actually go and do your research on feminine energy, you will find that other cultures also align to this feminine energy. The only time you hear this dynamic is in America. In America, because Americans are so disconnected from, and I'm American too, so I can speak on Americans, that they're so disconnected from authentic feminine and masculine energy that they cannot figure out what is real and what is not. Someone came on social media and they equated feminine energy to doing. And you all knew it wasn't right anyway, because I've seen comments where, okay, if I got to do all that to be, how is that feminine energy? Because your energy, your spirit, your soul, you knew immediately, your intuition knew that these people could not be valid. Tips for being the first woman in your family who learned to be more feminine from the outside. Well, let me explain something to you. Continue to do and be yourself. Continue to stay on that journey. One of the things I love about feminine energy women is that they are so comfortable that they don't mind other people being uncomfortable. They don't mind other people having an opinion. They don't mind other people, voicing their thoughts. Them voicing their thoughts and opinions does not harm my being. You still need to show up and be yourself and do the things that's authentic and feels good to you. You will learn to tap into that true feminine energy that is you. How to be comfortable around him. I think I'm actually going into that question because I knew where this is going from. I could kind of tell where it was going. How to be comfortable around them. Just realize that everybody they're all in their own little bubbles. They're living their own lives, and everybody has an opinion. But just because they have an opinion doesn't mean it has to be yours. One of the things that feminine energy beings do and do very well is allowing other people to be themselves and have their opinions. You having a different opinion than me doesn't harm me or upset me. I realize that it is okay for another person to have an opinion. Realize that when you are being your authentic self, there will be people who will be triggered by that because they are like, she's pulling away from the crowd. Just imagine all of the human beings that are walking and all of them are falling off a cliff and you're walking in the opposite direction. It is triggering to see other people who own their ish and have ownership of themselves, that they choose another path. Be okay with walking that path by yourself. Be okay with walking that path until you come across your tribe, because walking that path, you will come across your tribe. You will come across people who resonate with you and who understand you. And be comfortable with it. Sometimes you're going to have to let them talk. Let them be. It's not your job to persuade them or talk them into or have them understand your position or where you're going. You just need to be.